Cheers! Welcome back to this week's Let's Talk Basic podcast. I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday and a nice Christmas with your family and friends.
And I guess we're winding down the year and getting close to New Year's.
I can't believe that.
I know.
2020.
Oh, I love the sound of that. I'm really ready for 2019 to be done.
Really?
Well, just because of how it sounds. It's like, 2019 is such an inconsequential year.
Yeah. 2020 sounds good.
Yeah.
But before we go into the new year, we still have to reflect and kind of rewind about 2019 and the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
Let's start with our podcast.
Yes, which is
the good.
But it's been interesting because we started literally in January of 2019 when we were planning. We started doing some test episodes, kind of just planning this like love child of ours.
Yeah, I still remember the very first time Joanne and I talked about this. We were at a restaurant. I believe
Sarah.
We were maybe celebrating a belated kind of birthday for you. And we were just kind of toying around with the idea. It's like, New Year's coming and we really want to do something different and creative. And we both kind of just blurted out and said, I want to do a podcast. Me too. And that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. And like it started going so fast. I think like within a few weeks, we had equipment, we had a mic, we were meeting to
record.
Mm-hmm. But I guess one of the funny things is actually trying to figure out a name for the podcast.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like we had
so many.
Yeah. Like for me, my leading contender was Wine and Dine Whining Down.
Yeah, Whining Down was actually really close second. I think.
Yeah.
What were the other ones? Like, we had
Girls Night In.
Oh, Joanne had a really bad one.
What?
Do you not remember this?
No.
It was like Dim Sum Girls.
Oh.
And you said it with such enthusiasm.
I thought that was really cute.
No, it's true. But you said it with such enthusiasm that I was like, I really don't want to break it to her, but I really don't know.
And that was during a period in our friendship when we still had respect for each other.
I was like,
we would still hear each other out.
Then I'd be like, let's continue thinking about more names. But yeah, so we landed obviously on Let's Talk Basic, and we both agreed on it. And I feel like I still really love the name. It really kind of encapsulates everything that we are about. It's kind of back to the basic and not really being afraid of being basic, because people are always saying, oh, what a basic bitch. But I don't have a problem being one.
Yeah.
I totally am.
I know. It's funny because every time we're like, oh, that's too basic, we always go back to, well, I don't know. That's what our podcast is about, so let's just own it.
Yeah. I like pineapples. I like flamingos and I like lollipops. Like all those
like the pumpkin spice lattes.
Exactly.
And yes, I had one, so okay.
Yeah. And we're now into the creme brulee lattes, and whatever Starbucks wants to bring on next, I'm for it. So so let's talk about our favorite episodes. I actually don't know yours, so do you want to go first?
Sure. I just want to say, like, it's really funny because the first episodes that we've done, like, I remember us sitting on the couch with, like, a mic shoved in between the pillows trying to prop it up. And, it's just come such a long way. And, like, if you listen to our earlier episodes, like, the sound quality is noticeably different in that you could barely hear us at the beginning. And now
I feel like our amount of giggles have decreased. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But definitely come a long way.
Well, that's another thing too. I think at the beginning we were like really shy doing this. Nervous. And like we even have like a different tone. Mm-hmm. And now we just stroll up. We're like, drink my wine, sit down. Okay, let's do it. And you don't realize it until we have new people come onto the podcast. And they're so nervous. So, like, when we had Mike and he was crossing his arms and being like, I'm totally comfortable.
That was probably one of my favorite moments when Mike came into my condo, arms crossed, like he was sitting back.
Yeah.
Like, leaning back towards the chair.
Yeah. His head was tilted away from the mic.
And, but he kept insisting that he was comfortable.
Yeah.
And then last week we recorded with your husband.
Yeah.
Who was, by the way, wonderful.
He was so awkward too. Like I could
he
tell.
wouldn't sit on the bed with us.
Yeah.
He was literally standing in the corner with his beer and I think a beer and a whiskey in hand or scotch. Yeah. And just stood by the corner and said, Can I just get a chair? And we're like, no, just relax. But he did so well, but you're totally right. Like,
yeah. It's funny when you like see it again and you're like, oh, I guess we were kind of like that too.
Exactly.
But yeah, okay, kind of going into favorite episodes. One of my favorite episodes was the one that we did with Basic Bro. And that was one of the first episodes that we had with a guest speaker. Mm-hmm. And that was so much fun. And I still, in my head, whenever I see add to cart, I think of that episode.
Mm-hmm. He was hilarious.
Yeah.
And you should have heard the bloopers on that one, too. I think
that
one was really, really funny and definitely one of your favorites, too.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, we had a lot of engagement in all the posts and...
Yeah. A lot of people messaging us to find out who Basic Bro was.
Yep.
Unfortunately, he didn't want us to disclose his identity, so keep listening. Maybe he'll... tell you his Instagram.
Yeah. One of my favorite episodes is actually Do You Believe in the One?
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. That was my favorite because I felt like it was more of a it was definitely a discussion between us because you had one point of view and I had a different one, and I feel like people...
I know, which is totally rare for us, I think. Like, we agree on a lot of things we've realized through this process.
Yeah, so I really liked that episode because of the dialogue that we had. And I also think that we got a lot of engagement in that one as well. And I'm going to be really greedy and add one more in there. I also loved the one that we invited Christina on and talked about interracial relationships.
Yes.
I thought that was super funny. And it was just came so naturally too.
Yeah.
She was a natural.
I had that one on my favorite moments too, because I didn't realize like how big of a thing drinking tap water was.
Oh my gosh.
Until after that episode came out and we got so many comments being like, you don't drink tap water? Why? Or like, I didn't realize it was a thing.
It's
like
totally a thing.
And I'm like, I knew that it was a weird thing, but a lot of people, like non-Asian people messaging being like, I'm so confused, which has been really fun just to like engage with that and kind of hear what everybody else thinks.
What about the ones that we weren't so sure about? Because there was definitely a couple of them.
Yeah, we definitely have gone through a lot of episodes and not all of them have ended up getting posted.
Yes. That is for sure. We probably tried one topic 3 times and didn't feel like we could post it, or there was just not enough content, to be honest.
Yeah. Like, okay, for example, like what?
Friendships? That one was
we
a hard
tried a lot of friendship episodes. I think we couldn't do any of them because it was just too close to home.
Yeah. Because you value those relationships so much that it's hard to be vulnerable and
I guess like to talk about friendships in light of or like in the midst of when things are happening is hard. So I was like, I don't think it's the right time to record an episode, talk about, you know, how to deal with issues with friends when you're in the middle of dealing with issues with friends.
You might be a little bit biased about like what you talk about and your feelings towards that situation at the moment as well. And And I think we both value our friendship so much that it's really hard to kind of just open up and be raw.
And even like the Bridesmaids episodes, like we were kind of worried about that when we were recording it.
Right.
Because that, I mean, even with that one, there's so many, I don't want to say like politics, but like it is kind of.
Well, just feelings involved.
Yeah.
I think the one that was hardest for me was the one about cheating.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of very similar to what you said about like the friendship ones. It's hard, number one, to talk about your past relationships. And then because you've already gotten over them, revisiting them is kind of like, that's kind of yucky. And maybe admitting things that you've done wrong in the past, which I definitely have, is not something that like I'm proud of. But
but you did such a good job of it.
I know, but
I feel like it was so
weird.
interesting to hear. And I think a lot of people appreciated that episode too.
Yeah.
Because it's like things that people don't really talk about, but to like actually have a different perspective was like awesome.
Well,
but I can definitely see it being hard.
Yeah. Like I don't even like to talk about it like within my friend group. So it's hard to just let it out, not knowing who would be listening.
Yeah.
So that one was definitely difficult for me.
Yeah. I think there's also like just a lot of episodes because I guess I do most of the editing and
you do all of the editing.
But it's like interesting to kind of listen back to the episode and just be like, wow, we were really drunk.
Oh my gosh. There were a couple ones that we were slurring. I don't even remember which ones they were. They were bad.
Yeah. And some of those were ones that couldn't make the episode because we're just like, I'm listening to it. I'm like, wow, we make zero sense.
I know.
And that's another thing I've learned is that alcohol hits you very differently on different days.
Yes.
Because sometimes we get so hyped up and we're like, yeah, we're like feeding off each other. We're laughing like crazy. And then other days we're like slurring our words, like falling asleep, not making sense at all.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like we've like throughout the episodes, we've definitely slowed down on the alcohol.
Yeah.
So I feel like at the beginning we had to drink almost a full bottle before we could even start.
Yeah.
But now we could have a glass of wine or sometimes we have, lemon water. Yeah. We go to your house and we have, what is it, pineapple lychee water?
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah, but like I feel like we've definitely improved in a sense that like we don't need drinks to calm our nerves anymore. And we can talk about it. And we have it like free flowing.
We just do it because we want to now. Yeah. And we hope that you are drinking with us too.
Yeah. And I do want to touch upon the Let's Talk Basic Bachelor series.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. So I want to kind of address how that kind of came about. We're obviously huge Bachelor Nation fans. So for those of you that follow the ABC series, it's coming back in January in just like maybe a week or so. So we're really, really excited about Peter the pilot. But let's talk about Mike the accountant for a sec.
If you guys haven't watched our Let's Talk Basic Bachelor, you guys have to go onto our Instagram page, follow us. I think there's a tab for IGTV. It's not obvious. Find it because it's so funny and watch the dates. And a real relationship has come out of it, which is the craziest part.
Joanne and I often look at each other and say, did we do that?
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So Mike has found somebody to spend the holidays with.
This is so cute.
And we are just dying inside and outside because this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. And I will give kudos to you for kind of pushing the series through because that was definitely something that I was struggling with because it's so out of the norm for me. But
it was so in the norm for me.
Yeah. And
I'm just adding that to my roster of matchmaking.
Exactly.
That I've done.
I was just like so awkward and so unsure about it in the beginning, but Joanne really kind of like pushed through and just said, you know what? No, let's do this and let's do this really well. And honestly, no regrets. It turned out awesome. And we're probably going to MC their wedding.
Yeah. And next year, as we are planning out our episodes, like maybe we can have them back on.
I feel like that would be a hit.
I'm just going to put it out into the universe and hope for the best.
Let's Talk Basic Bachelor series with new girlfriend. With new girlfriend.
No, just a happily ever after episode.
Okay. That's perfect.
Something like that. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It'll be better.
So, going back to our first episode, because since we're doing a rewind, I remember listening to the very first one. Like you said, I totally remember stuffing the mic in between the pillows and cushions. But one thing that I do also recall when listening to that episode is how much I loved my work. I think so obviously we recorded that one in January when I first started my job. And when that was released in May, people were contacting me and messaging me and saying, wow, I didn't realize you liked your job that much. I'm like, I said that? And this was only...
I think that was news to me too. I was like, oh, wow, you're very
really
focused.
like your job. I've never seen you like this. That has changed, to say the least.
I was mid-slurp, but that was hilarious.
Yeah. Not that I don't love the program that I work on. I absolutely love the program and totally believe in the cause. And the organization itself is awesome. And there's some really, really great people that work for the cause. But things have changed, Joanne.
Yeah. Tell us about it, Vanessa.
I think it's just when you're at a workplace and you totally believe in the mission and you love whatever like product or cause that you're selling or the program. The one thing that really is frustrating, and that's a little bit out of my control, is the way senior leadership treats their people. Right? There's only so much that the staff or the frontline staff can take until you're like, you know what? This is looking like it's not fair.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's where I am in this space. I still, like I said, I still really like the program, but it's gotten to a place where I'm pretty frustrated at work and probably can't say that I love my job anymore, which is kind of sad. I know.
That sounds really sad.
But I did have a lot of fun, like...
the first month.
I would say the first 6 months.
Yeah.
It was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I want to say, to be fair, I probably just turned sour in the last month or so.
I think a little bit before that.
Yeah.
I think you were done.
Yeah. Because
I would get messages at like 11 a.m. being like, Jo, I'm so done with this day.
That's true. But so another thing that I'm also thinking about is that, so, you've known me for a while. How many jobs have I been through since I've known you? Probably 4.
Yeah. Right.
And that's a lot for us probably knowing each other for how many years?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
And at the beginning of every job, I'm very optimistic and I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stick it out. Like, I really want it to be a long-term thing. Yeah. And then after 8 months, I'm like, get me out of here. So I'm starting to think, is it me? Is it me? Or do other people feel the same way? Like, do you ever feel like, I'm asking you guys now, do you ever feel like you want to switch jobs every couple of months or year? Like, is that normal? I'm starting to think it's not.
This is getting into like a deep therapy session now.
I need help, guys. Let me know.
Okay, maybe we can do a work episode in the new year.
I feel like I do.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you in terms of work or life?
Well, I guess this year I've been, I want to say, quote unquote, promoted. So that's been new. There's been new challenges. It's been okay. I'm just about... This
is sounding sad.
Well, Well, this is a depressing year. No, I'm kidding. But I think it's just I've always kind of been hesitant to talk about my work. I enjoy what I do, but at the same time, I understand that it's not all rose-colored. And yeah, like there's a lot of negatives about the work that I knew going into it. Like it's bureaucratic. It's dealing with people, coworkers is difficult. They're not always the fastest to work with. And like coming from the experiences that I've had working in like startups and law firms and things like that, it's very different and very difficult for me. So I think
the pace for you.
The pace is just like mind numbing sometimes. But, you know, like there's a lot of perks. I work on entertainment and culinary and food, which I love. So those things are great. I got an opportunity to mentor somebody this year, which was a fail.
Sorry, I almost blurted. Was not expecting that. Okay, please expand.
Well, it's just like the kid didn't want to be mentored.
Wait, is it like a boy or girl?
It was a boy. He was like not a kid. He was probably like mid-20s.
Okay. Oh.
But he was just like, I don't really like have anything. I'm like, okay, well, I'm here for you if you need me. Never came to me.
So is this a program that's set up within the workplace or?
Yeah, like he's an intern, right? So like the whole purpose of the internship is you get coaching, you get work experience, all of that. So I was assigned as his coach.
He looked at you and said, no thanks.
He left like really short after too. I think he was only with us for like 4 months out of the year that he was supposed to be with us. Wow. So, you know, whatever.
His loss.
Yeah. So much insight that he could not tap into.
Moving on then. What about life and relationships, friendships?
Life has been good.
Yeah.
I like marriage.
Wait, this year
was my second year that we finished, and now we're going into our
finished.
third
I like
year.
you said.
Yeah.
Finished.
We've completed. Check mark.
Marriage, second year marriage certificate complete.
Survived.
Nice. So what did you guys do and places you've traveled, things you've learned about each other?
Things that we've learned about each other.
Okay.
Well, year one was amazing. Like it's so much in honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
We tried to, you know, make every day the greatest with each other. Yeah. So when we would come home, and I might have mentioned this on the podcast
that was
too.
Episode 1, by the way. Oh gosh, our episode 1. We need to delete that episode because none of that is
it's
true
not relevant anymore. But yeah, like being so happy and excited to come home. And I think that is still the case to some extent. Like we're still really happy, but it's more subdued. Like it's way more chill. It's more like you come home, you put down your bags, you're like, turn on the TV, get a beer, and then like just go on the couch and then wait for the other person to come join you on the couch. It's a very different like excitement.
Very exciting.
Yeah. And yeah, like it makes me excited to see what it'll be like when we have kids. But like honestly, it's been really good. Like we've been really blessed, I think, with each other. Mm-hmm. Gross. Just like, but like, honestly, I think we always say to each other how it's very nice just to have somebody who supports you in your life. So yeah, like just being appreciative of that is a continuing theme. And I think it's actually been much harder because as I mentioned, like with everything else in life, with friendships and things like that, there's been a lot of difficult conversations that had to happen this year, but a lot of changes in friends groups. Like we've had baby showers. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen baby showers, engagements, like just a lot of huge milestones happening in life and a lot of like...
Yeah, lots of things to celebrate definitely in your friend group.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, it's been a good year for you guys.
Yeah, other than like those awkward podcast episodes that you have to explain after.
I guess for me, the biggest thing in terms of relationship, you guys all know that my boyfriend stayed with me for a good 6 months. He started in June and then left pretty much November, mid-November. So
that's a long time.
It's a long time. Mm-hmm. And I think we thought our relationship was strong before. I think now it's just... I feel like we are married.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Explain it.
Like you thought like you knew a person, but you know, we've been dating for over 3 years now. Yeah. So I really thought that I knew everything about this person, his likes, dislikes, what he's like, but boy, like living with someone is a totally different ballgame. Yeah. It's not that nothing surprised me. Yeah. But everything has been accentuated. And I've always known that he's an extremely organized person, very clean. He likes everything kind of like on a timeline. When you're living with someone, that's hard because I'm not like that. So coming home and feeling like, oh, I feel really guilty because, you know, my house is a mess and he's always the one that's cleaning and always the one that's cooking. And actually, just the other week, he left for a weekend and came back to my house and was like, what happened? It was such a mess. The sink was basically, overflowing.
With dishes?
With dishes.
Yeah, okay.
Not
water.
No. Overflowing with dishes. Everything was a mess. The bed was unmade. There was stuff on the table. It was just unorganized.
You're gone, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like when I was living with him, I felt more of an obligation to be a little bit more tidy and, you know, pick up after myself. But after he was gone, I was like, almost like celebrated a little bit by myself and said, F all of this. I don't have to do this anymore. Yeah.
So just wait until you're married.
Yeah. So that was a little weird. Yeah. But that's why I kind of like my independence. So yeah. I think the question that we get asked the most is, oh, are you guys going to move in together? And my answer is always, no, not yet. Yeah. Right? Because my explanation to that is that I feel like it's eventually going to happen. Mm-hmm. We're likely going to end up together. And I want to take this time to enjoy the space that we have because from what I hear, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, most married couples, when they tell me, what do you miss most about, you know, life before marriage, is just time and space by yourself. Just having your own alone time. Yeah. So that's fair. You know? Yeah. Not that you don't enjoy each other's company. Yeah, but there's a little
when
bit
I do get it, okay. So this is one of the really gross things about marriage is like I've become really needy.
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah. Like I used to be pretty independent. Like I was very independent.
You were very independent.
Yeah. Now he'll be like, I have plans this evening. And I'm like, what?
You're like, your world is falling
What am I going to do?
Yeah. Exactly.
Can I come?
Is it like a guy's thing? Or are the girlfriends going and the wives?
Yeah. Oh, it's just guys? Do you think they'll mind if I come? And he'll be like, no, you can't come. And I'll be like, okay, I can do this. But yeah, you're right. Then I actually get the time to myself and I'm like, okay, this is really nice.
Yeah, you forget what it's like, right? When you're living with that person, you know, of course everything is fine. Yeah. Right? You love their company. This is like your best friend that you have to spend the rest of your life with is awesome. Yeah. But when you get that glimpse, you know, you're going out with your friends, you come home and no one's home and you're just in your underwear watching Bob's Burger. You're like, I can
Yeah.
you're like, I can do this.
Yeah. I mean, I do that anyway, but
Yeah.
there's a certain level to it where it's like when you're by yourself, it's like,
Yeah. Feel a little
nice.
bit more empowered.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing on the weekend, okay? I was feeling empowered that he's out of my house.
I feel like it might not be like Bob's Burgers because we both like watching that, but it's something where it's like the Hallmark movies that we talked about, or watching This Is Us with no judgment.
Yours is This Is Us.
Yeah.
Mine is Gossip Girl.
Wait, is that on Netflix?
That it's on Netflix.
Wait, I did know that. I'm waiting for the OC.
Oh, is that going to come on?
I don't know.
That would be good.
I know. I need to binge watch that.
Yeah. Like Gossip Girl, I've watched so many times, but
Yeah.
it's my guilty pleasure. And I can have it on and watch it and love it, like, until the new series comes out.
Yeah.
That might ruin it for me, but who knows? But yeah, like, that's one for my relationship that was this year. And I look forward to spending more time with him, but also having my own space back in 2020. And then in terms of friendship, I want to say that it's been a really good year for my girls. I think everyone's, their own relationships have been pretty steady and are flourishing. So I'm really, really happy for them. It seems like it's a pretty steady year for us so far. And I do think that...
No crazy upsets or fights or anything like that?
In terms of my girl group, I wouldn't say that there's a huge fight, but we did have to cut someone out of our group. So that has been interesting. And I think we're going to leave this person in 2019 and not bring her along in 2020. But I will say the most recent trip that we took to Prince Edward County together was so nice.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you're to
To have a girls' trip
it's so rare now.
Yeah, it is.
Because everyone has their own stuff going on, whether it's work, relationships, or their family or whatnot. Like, and there's also so many weddings, baby showers, and life gets in the way. And when we really kind of committed ourselves to be like, you know what, let's do this because we haven't, gone away for a weekend or a trip in so long. And it felt, I'm going to say this, like so nice and so natural for all of us just to be together. And we didn't even party that hard.
Yeah.
I think on one of the days we were in bed by 9:30.
Yeah.
We're so old, but it was just so lovely being together with your best friends and chatting all night and just doing like silly like girl things that you would have done in high school. So
that's so nice.
Yeah, I feel like that really brought us closer together.
Yeah.
So I feel like because that was towards the end of the year, it really kind of wrapped it up in a bow for us. And, we're going into 2020 stronger and better. And we're really happy.
That's so nice because I feel like the only time you really get to do girls' trips anymore is like a bachelorette trip.
And it's like focused on one particular person.
It's focused on one person. Sometimes like an extra, like other people come into the mix and it changes up the dynamic. Or like it's focused on like one
pleasing one person, the bride,
or partying, or like something where like not necessarily, but like something where not everybody is equally involved and like interested in doing. So like it's so rare to actually just have a girls trip away. And
I want to say like this girls trip was perfect. Like there's no drama. Everyone just got along perfectly. We were on the same page in terms of like what we wanted to do, and everyone's like, it's just really nice vibes all around. And definitely think that we rekindled our friendship. And so I think we're in terms of friendships, my closest girlfriends, we're in a really good place.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing in terms of a life update that I want to let you guys know.
She's engaged.
I'm not. But along the same lines that my boyfriend and I went to look at rings this year.
Oh, yeah. So cute.
Yeah. So that was something pretty significant, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see
That's
what 2020
cute.
brings.
Yeah.
But like.
Have you guys talked timing?
It's probably going to be next year.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys know and update you guys on that if it happens. But I think it's a we're a pretty transparent couple in terms of like what our thoughts are and what each other's time frame looks like. So
what ring are you looking at?
Oh, Joanne's kidding. You know what ring I'm looking at.
Yeah, but our listeners don't know.
I really like the oval cut.
I love the oval.
Yeah, I really like the oval cut. But the thing with me is that I've never actually tried any rings on, right? So I've always just like looked on Instagram. It's like either you or my other friend in Hong Kong like sending me rings like randomly on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that looks nice, but I don't know what that's going to look on me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like every ring looks different on each hand. So I think that I like the oval and I thought I liked the oval. And then after trying it, I'm like, no, it's confirmed that I like the oval.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
For those of you who want to let him know, feel free.
Yeah. As if you have not pushed that message enough already.
Exactly. So that's been really exciting. And then I think in 2019, I think both of us went to Japan.
Yeah.
That was something we didn't go together, but traveling is also, I think, for both of us, a very big part of our life. So what was your favorite place to travel to this year?
Oh, out of all my trips?
So let us know. So which trips have you been on this year?
So I think I went to Chicago.
Did you go in summer or winter?
I went in May.
Okay.
So spring.
Nice.
And then I took a lot of vacation just doing like small trips during the summer. So I did like camping. I went RVing.
Oh, yeah, you did do camping.
I went to a cottage. I had a very white summer.
Yeah.
Like, am I allowed to say that? But like cottaging, RVing, camping, those are things that never happened in my life before Tyler came in. So, did a lot of fun activities like that. I feel like I've really connected with the earth and I'm really chill now.
So zen.
So zen. And then I ended it off with a trip in Japan in the fall. You know, like the 2 trips that I took this year was interesting because they were both with another couple, number one, and both like not friends of mine. They were like closer with my husband. So that was kind of interesting, kind of going into it being like, I don't know how this is going to go. But still having like a really, really good memories.
Good.
Ate amazing food. Yeah. I love Japan for the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Japan is the best.
Yeah.
You can
oh my
never
gosh.
go wrong.
Their 7-Elevens and like Family Mart convenience stores are incredible.
Yeah. I love them.
Yeah.
I would probably go back to Japan in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
That's a place that I would go back to. Like, I could go back every year and feel like it would still feel new to me. Because there's so many different things that I would like to try and eat, and you just can't get it here.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't love Japan the way that everybody told me I would. I think my favorite day, I don't know if I talked about this, but my favorite day was the day when I went to the hot springs by myself.
Yeah.
So like to have that day of just like zen, being in pools, like that's very up my alley instead of running around like trying to catch trains and seeing as much as possible. Like I don't think that kind of trip interests me as much anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the trips that I took that was surprisingly good was Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty.
Colorado has never been on my list. Okay. It was never something that I'm like, oh, I have to go or anything like that. But it just came about that my boyfriend's friend business gave him a trip and basically free accommodations. And we're like,
easy. Yeah.
We're like, okay, if we have
not?
free accommodations, then why not? Right. So we went, and it was, number one, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. I've heard it's amazing.
It's absolutely beautiful. And the food in the city itself is actually very, modern.
Where did you go in Colorado? Was it
Breckenridge.
Denver? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we did go to Denver, but like we went more to the outskirts of Denver. So if you were in, Toronto, we went to like Blue Mountain.
Okay.
So like a little bit more outskirts, Breckenridge, where they're like the ski lofts and more, I want to say like adventurous stuff. So people would do long hikes, horseback riding. So a lot more like outdoor activities.
Right.
And the weather there was just kind of up and down.
Yeah.
Always. So the weather was always kind of up and down.
Yeah.
Because of the altitude, it could have been like 20 something, like 25 degrees on land. And then once we went up the mountain, it was hailing.
Oh, wow.
So it was such like night and day, depending on where you were. But it was so much fun. I think we also had a really great group. We went to Orlando with this group as well. It's always really fun. Everyone's super nice. The house and the accommodation is always like a huge mansion. So we always have like barbecues, pool parties, and like hot tubs and stuff like that. So it's always a good time. But I would say, I was obviously looking forward to Japan, and that was something that we were planning like way in advance. Whereas Colorado for me was definitely came as a surprise that I enjoyed it that much. And kind of to add on to that, it was the same. I went to Colorado the same week when the Raptors had their championship celebration.
Oh,
you remember that?
Yeah.
So that was actually back in June, and just remember watching the parade on the screen with everyone, and seeing everyone's Instagram stories about
that was so much fun.
That was the best, right?
Yeah,
you were there within the action. Like tell us about that.
Of the parade?
Yeah, the parade.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we went to the Celebration Square, which was at Nathan Phillips Square. We went at like 6:30 in the morning.
Wow.
It was really packed. I don't think I loved it because it was like we woke up so early. It was so hot that day. And we waited for like 6 hours.
For them to come.
Actually, probably more. It was supposed to only be 6 hours, but they ended up coming like a couple hours late. So yeah, it was like an entire day of just standing in a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And it got really not fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to be there and to have that memory of them like being surrounded by a bunch of fans singing "We Are the Champions of the World."
Amazing,
it was awesome.
Yeah. I remember that night when they won.
Yeah.
I was at a friend's condo just on my street. And when we won, we were just screaming on top of the balcony. Yeah. And then all of our friends kind of just like got our bags and went downstairs, and we went on King Street and marched towards like Dundas Square and just celebrated with it felt like the entire country. So that was so amazing. Awesome. That's definitely something in 2019 that I will never forget. Yeah.
Oh, I think for the rest of our lives. I remember walking down Queen Street. There was a marching band just walking down, and we were right behind them, following them, dancing on the streets, like cars honking at us. It was one of the coolest things. And
for the first time, Toronto felt like in LA because we were following Kawhi Leonard. Remember the trade deadline? Yeah. I remember I was at work, and we had these huge screens at our foyer. And it's CP24, and we was broadcasting live, a helicopter trying to follow this limo that apparently Kawhi Leonard was in, and meeting was
What a crazy year.
It was insane, eh?
Yeah.
But it was so good, and how amazing it is for us to be part of history.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, on that note, I feel like we can't top a world championship.
Probably not.
Yeah. I can't wait to have 2020 come and just kind of see what else is in store for our podcast, for each other, and continue just sharing our lives with you guys. Thank you so much for listening throughout this year. Do let us know how we can
improve,
be more entertaining for you guys.
Exactly. But I guess we'll see you and talk to you in the new year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Cheers.